trail. I'm looping through the lava lamp, leaving a tail. My whoop's got rhythm, my stick's got soul. I'm the pilot of the party. On a roll, TV remote's a gate, the lamps a dive. I'm flying like it's 7.5. No GPS, no rules, no shame. Just a funky little quad in a soul train frame. Low, we fly that flow. Spread that gap. No time to nap. No time to nap. Hit that roll. Funk and control. Bounce that wall. We fly it all. We fly it all. Funky and free, we fly indoors, we fly with glee. Whoop it, loop it, groove it, move it, bounce it, flip it, funk it, rip it, fly that soul, don't lose control. Tiny whoop love gonna make you whole. I thread the needle through the vinyl stacks, bounce off the mirror ball, never looking back. My quad's got soul, it's got style, it's got sass. It dips through the incense like a blast from the past. I'm flying figure eights through the lava lamp glow, dodging house plants like a funky pro. My whoop's got rhythm, my stick's got heat. I'm the pilot of the party with the grooviest beat. I loop through the hallway, I dive by the broom. I'm the disco ghost in your living room. I hit that split that's over grandma's chair. She just claps and says, boy, you got flair. I'm flying freestyle with a velvet touch. My quad so smooth it don't need a clutch. From the shag rug to the ceiling fan, I'm the funky little fly with a master plan. The curtains dancing on the breeze, freestyle funk in my living room with ease. Tiny whoop magic bumping every wall. I'm the James Brown of flight, can't stop at all.
Hey friends, my name's Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Ciotti. Welcome to Whoop Wednesday. Cine Whoop Wednesday, as a matter of fact. We're going to be editing some of the AOS Cine 30 and 35. Looks just like it, just a little bit bigger, with bi-blades. And if you guys have any questions about either rigs or anything in general, this is a Q&A live stream. Feel free to ask. That was the goggle DVR, because unfortunately, I forgot the incredibly annoying sequence that you have to go through to get the onboard DVR to recover when I was thinking about the live broadcasts during Tulsa Tough Day 1. Well, Night 1, actually. And so I've got the goggle DVR, which is 1080, which is not the end of the world, but sure wish I had the 4K. I've got 4K of the second to last lap, but yeah, 1080-60 is what I have of both men's and women's last laps on day 1 of Tulsa Tough American Criterium Cup cycling race. Also, I spent some time. All right, so story time. So here's story time. I put the AOS Cine 35, 3.5-inch rig with 1604 T-motors on HQ tri-blades before the gig, thinking they'll make more power, they'll have more grip. And I didn't remember Tulsa, Oklahoma being as windy as it was. Maybe it wasn't as windy last year, but it was certainly windy this year. And so before I flew the thing even, I I took the tri-blades off and swapped them over to bi-blades. And in the process of doing it, it's pretty healed right now. But I gashed myself pretty good when I was pulling one of the tri-blade propellers off after I took the T-mount screws out. And that made me realize that these AOS frames are not chamfered at all. Which is wild because they're high-end frames. These are high-end, kind of expensive frames. Not that expensive. It's not a $100 frame or anything like that, like some of the stuff that we see out there. But yeah, not chamfered at all. And I usually don't pay too much attention to that, but this was a good example of why that does matter. And so when you get a frame, before you put that frame together, I think I did it on this guy before I put it together, just knock the edges down. You don't have to do a lot. You know, the carbon fiber, when it gets routed out, it can have an incredibly sharp edge to it. And all you have to do is take any old file. If you have like a diamond file like what Immersion RC used to ship with all their stuff, even better. But any old file will work. And just knock all the edges down. Take the 5 minutes, go in your sink, turn the water on your sink so that any dust that you make goes down the drain. And yeah, do it before you put this thing together, because once it's together, it's a pain in the ass to sit here and knock all these edges down. It's totally doable. But yeah, every time you buy a frame, get it into the sink. Just pretend like it's got SARS all over it or something. I don't know. And you've got to rinse the bad FPV juju vibes off of it. And yeah, just 45-degree angle, and make sure you do the top, the bottom, the inside, the outside. You know, with a frame like this, you've got to do 45-degree angle here, 45-degree angle here, 45-degree angle out here, 45-degree angle out here, right? You got to get all four sides. I'm not taking these guards off to do it, and so I just did everything that doesn't have prop guards on it. Also, make sure that you do like the outside edges here on stuff like this, right? Just get the whole thing. Knock down the edges on the whole thing. Yeah, you'll be good to go. It is important because, like, especially if you're going to be doing any work with your stuff, because if you're changing a propeller and it's like a real live gig, there's a chance that it's not like a great scenario and you're going to be either like pissed off or flustered or in a hurry. In my case, I was none of those things. I was just, relaxed, getting everything set to go up for the first time. And I was just pulling really hard on a T-mount prop and it let go all at once. And I just, popped my finger into the frame and bled quite profusely. And it's just, it's not the end of the world, but it's just super annoying. And the time to do that is as soon as it shows up. Brandon's Baked Beans pointing out that CNC Drone, CNC Madness will do chamfering if you ask for that service. Don't deal with carbon fiber dust unless you have to. That stuff is bad for your health. Yeah, it is. So, carbon fiber is dust is similar to fiberglass dust. It's itty bitty little fragments of carbon or fiberglass, which will not break down in your body. You breathe that shit in and it's in your lungs forever. So yeah, don't mess around with it. If you're ordering a frame from somewhere that offers chamfering, always pay the extra couple dollars. Sounds like CNC Drone, CNC Madness, which is who cuts this frame as well as this frame. Actually, the other one I just happened to hold up. It sounds like maybe in the notes you can ask for that, because I definitely didn't see it in the drop down. There was no drop down for chamfering. If there was, I would have absolutely done it. But I'll bet you if in the notes you just say, hey, please chamfer this frame for me, hopefully they will. Usually chamfering costs a couple bucks though, because it's a whole separate kind of run that they have to do. But you never know. Maybe if you leave it in the notes, they'll just hook you up and do it. Maybe it's not as time consuming as I think it is. I would think that they would charge you if they had to change the bit on the CNC router. If they can do it with the same bit, maybe they can just, hit a couple of buttons in the software and it does the first pass to do the actual cutting, and then it comes back for the second pass, and instead of cutting all the way through, it just sits on a 45-degree angle and outlines the whole thing. But yeah, don't let sharp carbon fibered frames live. Knock the edge off the carbon fiber. It's going to potentially save you. It's well worth it. Teddy Spaghetti had to go to the vet yesterday, and he's looking a little worse for the wear here. He had a little lesion that got. He's had a couple of moles, and yeah, I guess one of them. One of them started to get bigger and filled with pus, and then he managed to scratch it and break it, and then some of the pus and blood leaked out. And we thought it would be okay. We gave it like a week, and we were waiting for it to like drain and kind of go away, and it just wasn't. And so we said, you know what, let's be safe and bring him into the vet. And the vet said he would have probably been fine, but it was starting to get infected. He would have probably fought it off. But yeah, the vet shaved him down and then shaved off the scab and the patch of hair, which was absolutely vile and disgusting, and I felt like I was going to vomit. But all is well. He's back. He's got a little ugly spot on his back, but nobody will know. What are you eating? What are you eating? What's down there? What's that? What are you eating? You eating leaves again? Go get that donut, buddy. Oh, that was a bad throw. Oh, that was another bad throw. 2 bad throws in a row. So yeah, there you go. There's your top tip for the next time you order a frame. If there's no chamfering option, and you're ordering it from like a company that's cutting it, right? Put in the notes, hey, can you please chamfer the frame? If you're ordering from a website that just has them, like they're already cut and they're going to ship it to you, there's not really a whole lot you can do. Just have a file ready, knock down all the edges all the way around, do it in the sink. You won't have to deal with any nonsense. Hell, do it in the shower, whatever works. Try not to breathe that shit in. Worst case scenario, grab a microfiber cloth, lay it flat on like a work surface, and just take off a little bit. You don't have to go bananas. Just do it very lightly. That will not create very much carbon fiber dust. And then wipe the whole thing down. Make sure you wipe it down with the microfiber. Microfibers are magical because the fibers are so micro that like they suck everything up and they don't let it go. And so microfiber is going to be really perfect for that. Let's see how many times I can say microfiber in one live stream. And then don't like touch your face when you're doing it because you're going to get super itchy. Treat it like fiberglass. Very similar to fiberglass. In the chat, Frank Dr. Nicholas was first. 00 Giddybots, Douglas 6, Kylo Meters, Skull 901, Yukon FPV, McMucus, Cole, DeGoul, Sear, J Tux, Levster, Ryan Sadat, Level Up, Brandon's Baked Beans. Who else is here? Cole, Ryan Sadat. I think I might have gotten everybody. What's up, friends? Thanks for coming. I am in ultra just like edit my ass off mode right now. I think I did 5 edits yesterday. Some of them are short, just like one clip, 30, 40, 50 seconds for Reels and for YouTube Shorts. Some of them are 3 or 4 minutes. There's 1, maybe 2 full-length edits for you beautiful patrons that support me. There's also 2 versions of the same edit that I put in the patron hangout Discord that you can vote on if you'd like to literally control which version of this one edit that I'm going to put up. I think I know which one I like best, but I'm interested to see from all you beautiful bastards. And so yeah, CiottiFPV.com, hit the Discord link. And if you're a patron, you'll have access to the whole Discord. And Patreon Hangout is where I've got 4 or 5 brand new edits, 3 or 4 of which are Patreon only. They're not completely finished. They're not completely polished. I'm either asking for a little bit of feedback from you, or it's just an edit for you. I am trying to dial in on how to deal with editing 4x3 or 8x7 footage in a way that I do as much editing to it as possible in that raw, full sensor basically format, and then I make a version. What I'm doing right now is I'm saving like one master Premiere project file, and that's got all the footage in it. And then I grab the footage that I want, I put a song on there, and cut all the total garbage out. And then at that point, I need to make a vertical version of it for shorts and reels. Sometimes I do really like to make a 16:9 version of it for YouTube. And that's always been a problem, because if you go in, first and foremost, the vertical crop, I have to motion track. I mean, I don't have to, but I like to motion track it, because otherwise the subjects will go off the side, because it's the worst format ever. And so the vertical edit, I'm going to put a shitload of points in to zoom it in, zoom it out, track it left, track it right, that I'm not going to do on the 16:9 version. 16:9 version, every once in a while, I'll motion track up and down a little bit, and sometimes maybe zoom in a little bit. But it's totally different. And so I don't do any of that on the master version, because it's the full frame. Don't scroll, just cut out the garbage, try to sequence some stuff. And then so like I'll save that version, and then I'll go into the sequence settings, and I'll either make it vertical or 16:9. And then I'll save 2 individual versions, one vertical, one wide. So I've got 3 different versions of the edit, and then because the computer's been kind of chugging along a little bit, I'm also then making individual save files. The save files are really small, so it kind of doesn't matter. I just have to, I'm figuring out like a solid naming convention to keep it all organized. But then, yeah, I'm doing that same thing with each individual edit. So like right now I've got like men's 1 tall, and then men's 1 wide, and then I've got men's 2 tall, men's 2 wide, women's 1 tall, women's 1 wide, and that's how I'm kind of getting around this issue of having, like, I don't want to redo work, right? And so I take the full frame stuff, and I do as much of the cutting as I possibly can, none of the zooming, none of the motion, and so drop the song in, cut everything around the song, get the length all figured out, and then yeah, that I do absolutely as much as I can, sort of like globally there, and then make the tall and make the wide version, and just do the things that are needed for the tall, just do the things needed for the wide. The problem has been that, like, I make the tall version and I start doing shit on it, and I'm like, ooh, it'd be cool to do this, and then I'll make a change, and I'm like, shit, that change would be really cool on the other one as well, and then I gotta go back and like, let me reverse this footage or slow this footage down. But yeah, I'm figuring it out. I'm figuring out the best way to deal with this whole having to do everything twice. Once wide for YouTube viewing on, TVs and monitors and actual sources that'll make it look good, and then also having to do vertical cuts, so that, because frankly, if I'm not willing to rotate my phone, like I literally will just scroll to the next instead of doing this with my phone. If I'm not willing to do it, then plenty of other people are not willing to do it, and so it's just not realistic to expect people to twist their phone sideways. Also, to be honest, the vertical crop sometimes is really cool. I put up a YouTube short and Instagram reel, and it's actually in wide of the finish of the women's pro race from Friday night. And doing that vertical crop, because I'm chasing these riders and I've got like rider, cyclist, the vertical crop is actually kind of cool. Like, it's got everybody in there, and it's kind of slick, as much as I hate to admit it. It is kind of nice. And then just motion tracking left, right, zooming in and out ends up kind of looking pretty cool sometimes. And you can add a little bit more sort of motion and action, and you can do that motion tracking to the beats in the song, and it just adds a little bit more, and it looks pretty slick. But boy, does it take some time. Jesus. That's like a 40-second edit that admittedly I put some extra time into, because it is one of, if not the closest finishes in America Criterium Cup history. Here's the instant replay of it, like the official, like real deal instant replay. Look at this finish. This is absolutely ridiculous. Where are you at? No, it's probably in the women's folder, right? Yep, women's photo finish. Look at this. This is absurd. It's absurd. Look at that. Like, absolutely dead even. Just nothing. That's not even the thickness of the tire. Ridiculous. That's the margin of error. After like 70 minutes of racing, that's the margin. The margin of victory right there. Just insane. And the winning cyclist up here, Sky, came from 4th place on the second to last turn to win. One of the most outrageous finishes, certainly the most outrageous finish I've ever seen, and probably will ever see. But yeah, just incredible, man. Timed it absolutely perfect and just charged. Really, really, really cool. And so yeah, that was I wanted to get that edit done first, because that was the most exciting finish of the entire time. I was really happy to find it on the goggles, in the goggle DVR. Like I said earlier, I'm very annoyed that I hit record on the goggles before I armed the quad in that particular scenario. I did that because I was trying to save as much battery on the quad as possible. The second to last and last lap are unbelievably stressful, because the cyclists haul ass. And like, sometimes if there's a couple that have broken out from the rest of the group, called the peloton, I will have to chase the leaders all the way down to the start finish line, turn around, burn ass back to grab the rest of the group, chase the rest of the group all the way through, haul ass back, chase the leaders on the last lap. A lot of times I only really get 3 runs like that on these, especially if I'm hammering full speed, which, boy, am I hammering to try to catch these cyclists. They're going 30, 35, 40 miles an hour. There's all kinds of wind. And so the last couple of laps are super stressful for me. And so up until this mistake, which has now changed the way I do it, I would fly as far as I can in my range, land it as quick as I can, and disarm it, and just get the motor stopped. Sure, the DJI VTX will heat up a little bit, but it doesn't heat up enough to cause issues. And that's what screwed me, because if you don't have DJI set up to automatically record every single time you arm and disarm, which I do not like, if you have it set up to manually record, if you hit record on the goggles and the quad is not armed, it only records on the goggles. It does not record on the quad. You have to arm the quad first and then hit record on the goggles. And like, I've got plenty of memory card space, so in both the men's and women's races, I was focused on the live stream, and that's a good thing. Like, you know, I'm not there to get 4K footage. I'm there to stream the coolest camera angle to the TV truck for them to incorporate into the live stream feed. And that's absolutely what I did. And I did it the best way possible, saving as much battery as I possibly could. So, like, as kind of annoyed as I am that I don't have the 4K, I was doing my job. You know, I was doing... You could argue that, like, I was doing a better job by not doing that, by keeping it disarmed for another couple seconds. Realistically, letting it sit on the ground and, like, arming and disarming every, like, 30 seconds to 60 seconds to make sure the PID loop doesn't wind up. At idle, it's not really going to chew up much, enough juice to make a difference. But, you know, you learn. This is a new gear setup. This is this is only the second time that I'd flown this new 04 Pro gear setup in anger, and that was my lesson that first night. And I did not make that mistake Saturday or Sunday. Whenever I would park it, I would disarm it real quick on the ground and then rearm it. And if more than like 20 or 30 seconds went by, I would really quickly disarm and rearm it, which also is a better scenario anyway, because when it's armed, it's in the VTX is in high power mode. When it's disarmed, it's in low power mode. And when it's in low power mode for like 15 or more seconds, sometimes you can get orange and red in DJI, and you can even lose the connection all the way. I didn't. I would always keep the patch antenna in the Goggles 3 pointed towards it whenever it was disarmed, to make sure that didn't happen. But still, you're taking a little bit of risk there. But yeah, learning, constantly learning. And to be honest, on a phone, the goggle DVR looks completely fine. Like, if I hadn't told you, you probably wouldn't even have noticed if you watched that Instagram reel or YouTube short on your phone. Now that I've told you this, you might actually notice it, but that's okay. The footage that I'm going to be done, I'm almost through. I think I have maybe one more edit to do of the Friday footage, and then I'm going to roll into... I might skip the Saturday footage for right now and go straight to the Sunday footage, because the Sunday race is a little bit more... I don't want to say important, but popular, let's say. The Sunday race has Crybaby Hill, which is a super well-known feature of the Tulsa Tough cycling race day 3. And so I'm probably going to skip right to day 3, and then I'll finish strong with Saturday. But I'm trying to do at least 10 edits with all this flight footage, because it's just really good. And a bunch of these edits are just one shot, speeded up, slow, 100% speed, 50% speed, maybe 25% speed if I shot it in 120 frames a second, and I can knock those edits out pretty quick. Those are not like these massive full song edits that I tend to pour 20 or 30 or 40 hours into, that are just like grueling, and by the end of which I don't feel like editing for 6 months. So yeah, you're gonna see more quick, short edits from me, which is also kind of where everyone's attention span is going. Like, as much as I for me, and like, if this sounds douchey, that's fine. For me, like, flying has become my art, and it's camera operator stuff. Like, it's much less flying and much more camera operator to me. That's how I view FPV, and that's where my passion is. And when you point a camera at really cool shit, it can very easily become art, especially if you're really good at it, right? Like, you could argue that anything that you get really good at sort of inherently becomes art. And so, yeah, this is for sure my art. And then once I start editing it, there's a lot you can do. Like, if you just keep pouring time and effort into editing, you can make stuff, you can just continue to make stuff better 10 hours in, 20 hours in, 30 hours in, 40 hours in. But, you know, for me, these edits that I do are just like sort of marketing. They're just an example of the work that I can do, which is great, but I have a lot of those, and dumping a massive amount of time into them over and over and over again, while it satisfies the completionist, perfectionist part of me, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, because the edits don't make any money, right? Like, my value, the reason why people subscribe to my Patreon is that you guys can come here to these live streams and ask me questions and get answers, and you can watch me do testing, and you can see, you know, what the best motor is for a Caillou Mini, and then you don't buy the wrong motor and waste $50, $60, $70. You buy the right set of motors, and you can take some of that money that you've saved and kick it my way with a Patreon subscription if you want to see a bunch of really cool behind the scenes raw edits, or you can buy some stuff from my Etsy store, or you can book some one-on-one time with me through Fiverr. You can also use my affiliate links. You can click thumbs up on these live streams. You can share these live streams with your friends, all that stuff. Every little thing helps. Leave a comment, all that jazz. You know what to do. And so, yeah, I got to get with the times a little bit more and start doing shorter stuff, which is, I don't know. What my main issue with doing all the short stuff is that everything else gets buried, right? And like, I much prefer having a smaller number of better quality things, but that's, you know, that's what like proper filmmakers are doing, and that's not really me. You know, I don't have the audience for that. I don't have, right? Like, you can do that if it's going to get watched a couple of million times, right? You can put 40 or 50 or 60 hours or 100 hours into it, and if it's going to get viewed a million times, okay, that was worth that amount of time. My edits get viewed a couple of thousand times max, and so spending that insane amount of time on them doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So yeah, a little bit of a shift in what you're going to see, and hey, you know, more often you'll get to see some proper color graded, chopped up stuff from me with, I like to think, really good music in there. I've been a musician since I was like 9 years old, and so I have a pretty decent ear for music, and I love the one of the things that to me during the editing process is absolutely art, is matching up visuals with audio. And so I've got all the visuals, right? Like, I've got 3 days worth of footage, playing that footage with Spotify on random or in like a specific playlist to where I think it's going to kind of go, and making those two things match together is incredibly fun for me, and I put a lot of effort into that, and so yeah, like some of this like night stuff that I'm going to slow down, there'll be like a slower, more electronic kind of song. The daytime stuff will probably be a lot less like cyberpunk-ish music, right? And so yeah, that's incredibly fun to me. And so there you go. Ran out of steam there. Double Jose, if you want to talk directly to me, type at CiottiFPV. If you want to support me and see me continue doing what I'm doing here, go over to my website. Double Jose says, how did the broadcast truck stream from the Goggles 3? So Goggles 3 go into Cosmo Streamer, which is running on a Raspberry Pi that Frank the Dr. Nicholas very kindly sent me probably like 6 months ago, maybe longer. And then, yeah, the truck takes it. Normally, the truck color grades it, but this weekend there were a lot of technical issues, and that step got skipped. So the live streams from Friday and Saturday are my raw, non-color corrected D-Log M footage, which is a little bit annoying, to be honest, because all the other corner cameras look great with loads of contrast, and then there's little old me with this, flat image just waiting for contrast to be pushed in. We got it straightened out on the third day, and so better late than never. But yeah, in case if any of you watched the live streams from the first 2 days, if you were wondering why my footage looks so flat, that's why. I was in D-Log M. I assume that most of these gigs that I've done over the last 5 years, before the pro women's race, which is the first big thing that they mainly bring me out for, the colorist in the TV truck will get me on comms and say, hey, can you send me some footage? And just fly around a little bit and point at bright stuff, dark stuff, green stuff, gray stuff, so that I can color your footage. That step just got skipped, and I don't get to see what's coming out of the live broadcast, right? Like, I'm in the goggles, and then when I take the goggles off, they don't take my shot anymore. So like we have a monitor that's showing us broadcast, but I can never take the goggles off quick enough to look at my own flight footage, right? And just nobody said anything. I wish somebody had said, like, dude, why does your footage look so bad? I'd have been like, oh right, hey truck. But it's fine. Look, as I always say with FPV, the quality of our footage is so much less important than our actual flying, right? Like, typically with FPV footage, like if you're doing a good job as a pilot and you're flying in a way that's super exciting, nobody cares how much contrast it has. They're just like, holy shit, how did you just do that? How did you just go under that scaffolding above the helmets of those cyclists at 40 miles an hour and not, wreck? And so, in theory, not too many people noticed, but I certainly did. But, now I know for next year, for whatever the next event is, just for the foreseeable future, I will not leave. So when I do all of my prep before I leave, I check all of my settings everywhere, and what I'll do is I'll move it from raw D-Log M to standard color. I'll put everything on standard color, and then if the truck calls me and says, hey, let's color correct your stuff, now I can put it back to D-Log, send them, or just leave it. They can correct the standard, but we'll at least have that conversation, and I can say, hey, what do you want? You want the contrast already crushed, or do you want the raw straight out of the sensor? And then they can get my feed dialed in perfectly. With the fact that I do use O4 Lite to do like some sight testing, and I'll fly these around for like the over 40s class and like the slower non-pro cyclists. It actually makes a lot of sense to leave everything on standard, because the O4 lights only give you that option, right? These don't give you the D-Log M option. And so, yeah, I personally don't love that, because then that contrast is pushed into all of the footage that I collect from DVR. I would much rather fly in D-Log M so that I can, when I now in Premiere edit this, I have a little bit more range to move the colors around and a little bit more detail in the shadows and the highlights. But it's not about that. It's not about onboard footage. It's about the live stream itself. Like, it's great to have the onboard footage. Don't get me wrong. It's great to have the DVR from here. But these events are not about cool edits after the fact. They're about the event that's going on right then and there. And so, yeah. Ryan Zadot says, I don't know if I'm the first one to come to this conclusion, but after flying Happy Model made motors for a while, after starting on Beta FPV, RC, and power motors, I think whatever makes motors efficient Also makes them less responsive. Well, sure, because efficiency comes from a lack of power, and lack of power is going to be less responsive. Beta FPV slash RCN power motors feel like flying in first gear for me, but even the high KV happy model motors feel like flying in third or fourth gear with less response, but just higher top speed. Yeah. If you have a motor that is, if you have two motors and one of them is more efficient than the other, that efficiency has to come from somewhere, right? Like the reason that the Beta FPV, the RCN Power, the Newbie Drone motors are so powerful is that they use a lot of the battery juice kind of like all the time. The Happy Model motors are kind of like softer almost in a way. You get that extra efficiency. They still have plenty of power. If you make the PIDs more aggressive, you can kind of make up for that. To each his or her own. I find that the Happy Model motors are the best mix of efficiency, and there's some other stuff in there as well. But they also make really good power. Ryan also says there's a guy at my RC fields who hand cuts carbon frames with a saw. Holy shit. He insists he's doing it safely, but I worry about him. That's wild. Not that I haven't done that before. I've certainly cut carbon fiber with a Dremel before. Not like a whole frame, but I've like modified a frame before. Not really a frame either, just ducts. Cole FPV says, I asked about chamfering. Small stuff like 0.25 millimeter might not get aligned perfectly. Not sure where they draw the line at small. Waiting to hear about 0.5 millimeter and 1 millimeter. Also don't know if it costs more. Let us know. Very cool. Ryan Sadat says, dogs are God's gift to humanity. Man, nothing beats getting home and seeing those silly guys excited for you to throw a ball toy for them. Indeed. I'll be honest and say that I prefer cats, but I'm super allergic to cats and not allergic at all to dogs with hair rather than fur. Look at you! Did you hear me talking about you? You little fart bag? He's got a legit sploot going on right now. Hold on, let's see if I'll hold it. Oh, he held it. There it is. Look at this. Look at this madness. Looks like a fucking whale. Oh, God. You're hideous, Teddy. That's so mean. Oh, shit. Brandon says, I will make tall edits for my real estate clients, and I do the same thing every time using GyroFlow to keyframe pans on the yaw axis. I also use less lens correction on tall format. Interesting. I never thought of doing that inside of GyroFlow. I run everything through. I force GyroFlow to maintain the same aspect ratio. And then I do the smallest amount of lens correction that I possibly can. Interesting idea. Run it. But then you're going to have multiple, like, raw but stabilized outputs, and then you're going to have to do one edit with each of them. And so there's going to be, you're going to have to do some of the stuff kind of twice. But I'd be interested to see how GyroFlow does with when I do the motion tracking in Premiere, I have the option to smooth the edges out so that it doesn't just snap. I actually really like the look of it snapping to a stop, and so I usually don't do that. I'm assuming GyroFlow won't do that. GyroFlow will probably, if you're having it motion track, it'll probably soften everything out. Also, doing that in GyroFlow wouldn't work for trying to sync those movements up to music, for obvious reasons. But for real estate stuff, you wouldn't really be doing that anyway. So that's interesting. That's an interesting way of doing it. I never would have thought to do it that way. Brendan says you can click on the yaw slider under additional 3D rotation under one of the advanced menus. I saved the gyroflow projects both wide and tall, but you have to rename them individually. Gotcha. Very cool stuff. It's really neat to see how everybody uses these different tools with FPV, right? Because like we have this footage that's just so weird. Like, you know, we have this very, very, very unique footage that like we've only just scratched the surface of how to use it and how to edit it, right? We're still like an unbelievably small segment of the filmmaking community. And so it's cool. There's like no wrong answers, you know, because we're all figuring it out on our own. We're all making different ways of doing it. And one of the great things about like watching other people's flight footage is that you steal all kinds of really cool ideas from them. And then they do the same for you. So never stop watching FPV footage, friends. I follow the best. I definitely don't follow the most. I have to have a little bit of a break from FPV from time to time in my various feeds. But yeah, if I ever stumble across somebody that's like properly good, I always follow them because there's going to be something. There's going to be some camera movement that they do either better than anyone else or a little bit different than anyone else. And that's the magic, right? You can either read or right about a different camera movement, or you can see someone do it and then imitate it. So yeah, very, very cool. Jules says, I flew my first batteries on your RC Drift Chase setup today. The setup was so perfect. I got some awesome clips. I'm curious, do you run any kind of throttle expo on your RX Drift Chaser? Loads and loads and loads and loads and loads of throttle expo. It is the only way to get down like 6 millimeters from the ground, and then 5 millimeters, and then 7, and then 6, and then 7, and then 5. I believe that I have an expo value of 50, and then the center point has to be perfect. Like if you're gonna run 50 points of throttle expo, it is going to make the curve very drastic, and so this center point has to be perfect. And so you're gonna choose. I have a whole live stream. I have 2 live streams that I've done about throttle expo, which explain how to dial it in, which is super important. But the long and short of it is going to be that on faster tracks, with not necessarily just on faster tracks, on tracks with more extreme ends of the spectrum, fast parts of the track and slow parts of the track, you're not going to be able to run as much throttle expo because you're going to have to run very low throttle in the slow parts of the track and very high throttle on the faster parts of the track. And so having a really good understanding of how throttle expo works before you use it at all, specifically in this setting, is going to be really, really important because you got to dial it in, and like it'll change with different drivers. Really experienced drivers will be able to go really fast on the faster sections and slower on the slow sections. Less experienced drivers won't be able to go as fast, and they'll like manji down the straight instead of throwing like one big fast drift down the straight. Manji is when they swing left, right, left, right, left, right. And so, yeah, having a really good understanding of throttle expo before you use it is super important because it's very easy. And the reason why so many people say that throttle expo and just expo in general is a bad idea is because they haven't taken the time or effort or interest in actually diving into it and putting a little bit of time into figuring it out. It's not just understanding it. It's also spending a bunch of time and using it in scenarios where it should be used, right? These guys, I can't use throttle expo because in the middle of the race, when the cyclists are sitting back and cruising and saving energy, they're only going sometimes maybe like 20 miles an hour. At the end of the race, they're bursting like 35, 40 miles per hour. And so I go from flying like this to flying like this. And like there'll be like $100 sprint lap in the middle of the race. And so I can't even like land and adjust it. And then as the race unfolds, I just can't run it. And I really wish that I could, because I'm all day long, I'm trying to lock my elevation in and stay perfectly equally spaced between the riders' helmets and the scaffolding that I fly under for the start-finish line. I'm trying to stay perfectly even between those two things. And Throttle Expo would absolutely help, but no matter what, when you take something that's linear and then you put Expo into it, it's going to make that area where that Expo works and doesn't do the opposite more narrow. And so, yeah, for Criterium Cup racing, because of how drastic the difference in speed is, I just kind of can't run Expo. I have to just get good, scrub, and just be on it, and just be locked in, and yeah, get my throttle control absolutely dialed. But yeah, for the little RC drift cars, because drift cars in general don't have, they're like figure skaters, right? They're judged like figure skaters, and they kind of move around like figure skaters, where they're always going like a middle amount of speed. They never go really fast. They never go really slow. They don't accelerate or decelerate very quickly. It's a very gentle kind of, one might say, drifty style of sort of motion that they've got, and that's why quads match that so well, and it allows you to run a bucket of Throttle Expo. Ryan Sadat says, oh god, am I gonna fly today, bro? That's what he says. Yes, this is a 6 batteries live stream. I'm gonna fly a few. You beautiful people need to fly 6. I'm just gonna fly 4. Ryan says, by the way, wanted to say I saw some clips from the race and you killed it. I'd love to have your level of throttle control one day. For now, I'll keep doing inverted yaw spins to hide that. You and everybody else in FPV. And I mean, hiding, covering up mistakes and hiding how good you are as a pilot is an incredibly valuable skill. So yeah, we've all had to be there. Ryan also says, by the way, that same guy who hand cuts his frames also hand cuts entire 10 to 12 inch frames with all HGLRC electronics that he insists is the best on 12S. And there have been some bad crashes. HGLRC stuff's okay, but it's obviously not the best. We all know that. Brings Back Bean says, I love learning other people's workflow. Yeah, me too. Ryan also says, the indestructible whoop has been the best thing for my flying. I've improved so fast just because I can crash. Probably just going to drop from 40K to 32,500 for more throttle resolution. Yep. I as fun as the 40s are, the 32,500s from Weebleed are just, like, it forces you to have less power, and that makes you fly better because you have more throttle resolution. And it's enough power. They have just enough power. And then Ryan says, unfortunately ended up liking the 1210s more than the 1219s, which I really wish wasn't the case, because I wanted to like only the modern tri-blade we have on the 1.5 millimeter shaft. So it's looking like we're not going to get another 1.5 millimeter shaft propeller. It's looking like the Gemfan 1210 biblade and the 1219S are going to be the only ones that we get from Gemfan. It was looking like we were also going to get the 1210, but that is not the case. So now it's just up to HQ. Maybe HQ will make us a 1.2 inch propeller that has a bigger hub with the 1.5 millimeter hole in the middle. I would not hold my breath though, but boy would that be nice. Yuke says, I can't stop printing stuff. My new favorites are the Gears of War card pop-out wallet and a micro box cutter that fits in said wallet with 9 cards. I'm assuming that you just got a 3D printer because every single one of us, when we first get our 3D printers, we just print fucking everything that we possibly can, even things that make no sense to print. It's just the way it is. Cool. I'm caught up on chat. Let's dive into a little bit of editing. So, well, here you go. I do need to get a little bit better organized in here, but so Tulsa Tough is Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I flew a couple little for fun batteries on Thursday after I got there, just kind of screwing around. This is the Siren A F-35 in like a little park. But yeah, I broke everything up into each individual day, and then the raw footage I have segmented into the women's races and the men's races, and then I've got a couple, well, I haven't even pulled them off of the Caillou Mini yet, but a couple just for fun files sitting on the Caillou Mini that I still have to plug in and pull off of there. And then I made a separate folder here for the goggle DVR, and I'm going to be filling this up with any interesting flying that I didn't record on board and I do have in the goggles. So like right now, I believe this is the finish of the... Okay, so this is the finish of the men's race. I need to get the finish of the women's race in here as well. But yeah. And then where it became a mess here is I've got, so women's finish tall, and then women's finish wide, and then Premiere creates this weird .prin file for each one of those, and then I've got like the actual edits, and so this is the wide version of that, and then I've also got the thumbnail. And so this is, yeah, I might break this up into more folders. I've also got the MP3 files in here. I did not stick with I'm just figuring out a decent naming convention to use with this. And previously I would use the title of the song as my naming convention here. God forbid I change the song. That's not gonna be great. And so I think like men's edit 1, men's edit 2, men's edit 3, 4, 5. I think that should work, but yeah, I'll overthink. I will overthink it for a while and then figure it out. But yeah, that's why this folder is kind of so stacked up right now, because everything is kind of multiplying. Also, I wanted to get as much of this Friday stuff done, and so I just dumped a ton of the MP3s. So there's a lot of music in here as well. And so yeah, this admittedly is a little bit of a mess right now. But like, it gets a little bit annoying. Like if I segment this out into the folders now, when I open these Premiere files, it's gonna tell me, yo, so and so is missing, and then I gotta go and locate it, and it's just stupid. And so I think this Friday folder is just gonna be a mess. And then I'm gonna learn and figure out a really good organization. And then the Sunday folder, which is already starting to be a mess, I will do in a better method. And then the Saturday folder will be hopefully nice and clean and tidy and easy to find stuff in. But yeah, this so this should be called men's. I think this should be men's 1. Right? Isn't that what I did? Yeah, men's 1 wide. Oh God, where'd it go? It's just wide now. So we're gonna do men's 1 wide. Hopefully that name is not taken. Okay, cool. And so now it's sitting it next to, well, I don't have any other men's 1 stuff, but again, this Friday folder is going to be a bit of a mess. So what is this? What do I have open here? So this is women's so this is the other thing that happens is that like now in each one of these edits, I've got, you know, the actual name of this Premiere Pro file is called Women's Long Wide. And so this is the full length, full song women's edit. This is patrons, you have the rough cut version of this. I've made a couple very subtle changes to this. I think this is done. I think this is good to go. This is like an old school CiottiFPV full song length edit, which I love. This is my absolute favorite thing to do, is to pick a great song, and the boundaries of the song are the edit. Certainly the end of the song. I'll sometimes chop out the beginning of the song, because you can just sort of like fade it in to like 30 seconds or a minute in. And nobody ever knows, but it depends. Sometimes the beginning of the song is like really, really, really cool, and I'll want to use that. But yeah, so this is pretty fun. I am gonna get copyright donged pretty hard if I leave the audio in, but like, with one of the things that's really fun about one of the things that's been really fun about these entries that I'm doing in reverse is that I can edit that in with reversing some normal footage, and you can get cool moments like this where like this is actually me landing, but then I can have it as my takeoff, show myself, show the Jumbotron, and then it has this really cool effect where like there's like a split second where you think the riders are also riding backwards, because we're just going backwards, but all of a sudden they're going forwards, and it's like holy shit, how did you do that? I'm a really big fan of like not getting overly technical and effect heavy with editing, and just focusing on like simple cuts and just like reversing footage, slowing footage down. Why can you hear the music? Well, all right, that's fine. I don't monetize these live streams anyway. I know why you can hear it, because Premiere outputs its audio in a stupid way. Adobe Desktop. Oh, nope, it's because I didn't click the mute button. Like a jackass. There we go. So now you won't be able to hear it. And so, yeah, I get much more of a kick out of not relying on really fancy transitions and stuff like that, to join these clips up, and figuring out a way to do it a little bit more naturally. Riders riding backwards is kind of tough, though. Like, you don't want to show these cyclists pedaling backwards for too long. Yeah, this so much for this being an editing live stream. The computer can't handle it. That's a shame. Oh god, don't you dare! Okay, I thought it was gonna crash the whole computer. That's a shame. There it is. Wow, it only took 10 seconds for it to play one additional frame there. I did not generate proxies for these because it was running fine in half quality here, but yeah, that was a mistake. And if I go to generate proxies now, it's going to take too long. But this edit is pretty much done. Patrons, you've probably already seen this. So let's get out of here and see what else we have. Maybe there's like a short one that I can... Oh my god. That I can kind of dive into. Denzel the Turtle says, the only file that should have the name of the song is the song file itself. Don't get creative with file names. Just call them exactly what they are. Future you will thank you. Yeah, I've been doing the song title thing for a long time, so that is almost like the norm. But yeah, usually I only have like one edit from... Oh man, wow, this is brutal. Usually I only have one edit from like a day of flying. This is a whole different thing here where I'm trying to do 10 plus edits from from some of this stuff. Wow, Premiere won't even quit. Jesus, that was absurd. Okay, so let's jump into a cockroach falling from the ceiling onto my desk. Great. That's not a cockroach, that's a little beetle. What are you doing, dude? Don't come over here. I don't hate you like I hate the cockroaches, but I don't like you. Stay over there. Good. God damn it. I thought we would be okay. Women's long wide, that's what we were just looking at. Women's finish wide, that's what I completed earlier today. Women's finish tall, completed that as well. Men's 2 wide. Let me take a look at what this one is. I think I might know what this is, but we'll see. Yeah, like the whole men's 1, men's 2, men's 3 thing, that's not really going to make much sense to me after today. And so, like, I almost think that using the song names might be a better option than that. But, like, I don't know. We'll see. I'll like I said, I'll overthink it and figure out a good way to get these organized. All right, cool. So what is this? This is men's 2 wide. Oh my god, I've got a lot of stuff in here. So this definitely won't play with all of this footage in here. What's this? This is the... I think this is the... Oh, nope, this is all raw stuff. Okay, so this is me taking everything, chopping out all the garbage, and just smashing them all next to each other. This right here, this would be that first reel that I already put up. Yeah. Okay, so this is finished. This is already done, and it's just playing like $1 million. 1 frame a second. Love it. This is finished. So this... I think this should be men's 1 wide. I think this is men's 1 wide here. But let me see what else is in here. So we've got a little bit of this, some daytime stuff. Okay, it's just not gonna... Oh, there it goes. I was gonna... Tito's was a massive sponsor, so they asked me to fly some stuff with Tito's. So I'm thinking about doing this as just like a little Tito's edit and maybe trying to tag them. Just like a slow drop at 50% speed and then into 100%, sync up some music with that little change. And then little reveal the Tito's sign, and then I think I fire it up. Look at the wind here. Ready? Yeah. Watch this punch out. Ready? A nice flat punch out. Pretty aerodynamic rig. Look at this wind. Ready? Just shoving me. I was actually left side down a little bit. Like I was trying to push into the wind, but I wanted to be as flat as I possibly could. And to be honest, it's kind of a cool look sometimes. Sometimes it's that, you know, it gives you like that Mavic like mixing roll with yaw with pitch kind of look. And so I don't actually hate that, but boy, Tulsa has some wind, yo. So yeah, here's a whole bunch of little chunks in here. What is this? So I guess you guys can hear it, but I can't because I have this muted. I can't play more than 10 seconds of this, or it's gonna dong me for 2 songs. If you play like 2, 3, 4 songs in a live stream, they get really upset. So let me just mute this. What is this? It looks like I've put this... I just dropped this song in here for no real reason. What song is this? This is Wildfire. I already used this. So this song has already been used. So this is one of the things that has happened to me now with all these multiple versions is like... I'm in this men's 2 wide, and I put this song here, and now I think like, oh, was I trying to tell myself something? No, it's just I was just dropping in there, which is like, yeah, I need to really dial in on getting organized here. This was this is a song that I'm not going to use. Look over here, though. See, there's something. I'm doing something over here. Where did it go? Here it is. What? Why did that just do that? Stop it. Premiere. Stop being Premiere. Okay, so what's this? This looks like two separate little edits over here that are going to play 1 frame a second. Great. I'll totally be able to tell what these are. Ah, this is Men's 2 right here. This is Men's 2 wide. That's what this is. And there's 2 versions of it. And there's a poll on the Patreon Hangout Discord channel. And so that's what these 2 are. So this actually is Men's 2. All right. So what I'm going to do is get rid of all the rest of this. I'm going to get rid of all this. So yeah, this is what seems to be working for me. This edit is called Men's 2. I grabbed just Men's 2, put them in the front here, and then I'm going to save this. Well, no, it's already called Men's 2 wide, which is perfect. So now I'm going to save that. What I'm actually going to do is I'm now going to make Men's 1 wide. So I'm going to undo so that I have everything again. Daytona Jim with a $5 super chat. He says, "What's up, mofos?" Thank you, brother. Okay, so Men's 1 is this little chunk here. So I'm going to get rid of this, and then I'm going to get rid of all the rest of this. Why didn't it get rid of that? That's weird. Hold on, let me just make sure. Yeah, okay. And so I'm going to grab this. I'm going to do the same thing, slide it all the way to the left. And now save as Men's 1 wide. Because that was the first of the edits. And so Friday, Men's 1 wide project. Cool. All right. So now I have Men's 1 wide as the finished here. I think this is actually 2. The proper edit for this is on the laptop, I believe. Oh no, I guess that is 1, because this is 2 right here. Yeah, right. This is 2. Look at this move, man. This is the Patreon version of this. This is the full-length version with this cool little takeoff and the full beginning of the song. The final version of this, I'll shorten the beginning up a little bit here, but I actually really like this Patreon version, long version of it. The song really. Hold on, I'll give you just. Let me try to count it out. Check this song out. Ready? Wait, no, hold on. I have to mute my mic. I'm gonna mute my mic so that you get the actual audio. Listen to this fucking drop. This is so goddamn cool. No, that's not. Oh, for fuck's sake, YouTube. Just let us play music, for God's sakes. Jesus. Absolute pain in the ass. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out the poll that's on Patreon. I'm trying to figure out if I'm going to use this clip first with this really nice extended backwards move, or the dive that's after this. I like it. I like this version, to be honest, but the other version kind of has a cool flow to it as well. And so into this little dive here. I still have not really nailed that dive. I keep, at the bottom of the dive, I keep being like extra safe and rotating myself outwards to then get under the power lines a little bit safer. I need to just sack up and just let the thing fall all the way down on top of these guys and just blast the throttle like I would do any other time with any other dive. But like, you know, coming 10 stories down directly towards these guys is like, ooh, like, I'm gonna be a little bit safer here. It's yeah. This whole thing is a super mix of flying safe, but at the same time providing like incredible visuals, and so like where I fall on that, like, you know, barometer of like safe but sick, I tend to go over towards the safe side. But man, that dive is just not nearly as impressive when you don't just let it hang all the way down to the ground before you blip the throttle. Okay, so that's the 2 and the alt. And so let me just actually double check that I have the right thing going here. So should have 2 versions of it, right? Eventually I'll get to see, but okay, yeah. Okay, so men's 2 is good. That's fine that it's not finding the media. And then what the hell is 1? What's 1? Is 1's the short backwards move, and then this wraparound. Oh god, I just love it. And then this is just yeah. So like I'll give you guys a little bit of a window into live broadcast life. So if I'm going to drop down low like this, below helmet height, there has to be a big gap, and this is a pretty big gap. All right, and so I see that I've got this massive gap, and I decided to. I'd already started the move down low, which is okay, right? I'm starting the move really low, but all the way on the inside. These riders are carrying so much speed that they're never going to get over here. They never do. They never will. And so I'm safe to be as low as I am, right? So start the backwards move here. Keep an eye on that gap. Big old gap. So now I know I can own this, and I can stay down below their helmet height. Keep it low. Rock it around. Mute the audio so I don't get donged. This was a really nice wrap. They were just going a really good speed. I matched speed really nice with them. Nice little wrap around here. But, see that? Watch for it again. Ready? Rider in green. See him look back? He doesn't glance back. He looks back. He properly looks back. And when I saw that, I was like, oh shit, okay. So this gap might be closing for me. And now he comes back up on the pedals. He moves all the way to the left. And now he looks back again. And now I'm like, all right, somebody's coming. And so you can do 2 things at this point. You can kind of blow the shot and you can move out of the way. Or you can trust, because I've talked to these guys for the last 4 years, you can trust that these guys can both see and hear me. And every single one of these cyclists that I've talked to have said they can always clearly see and hear me, and they always know where I am. And they've also told me that as long as, like, any time that I'm stable and I'm just on rails, that it doesn't bother them at all, and that, like, we're in it together, basically. Like, they're out there, they can see me, they can hear me, they know where I'm at, they're not gonna hit me. I'm out there, I can't hear them, but I can see them. I'm gonna stay on a really on a really predictable path. And in this case, that's what I decided on. I decided there's enough of a gap between me and him for this guy that I know is coming, because I've seen him look twice, and you're about to get like the ultimate sign that somebody's coming. I'm just going to stay on this path. I'm going to let this guy come into my frame, and then I'm going to make my move, because he's about to haul ass, right? And so that's kind of the other part of this, is that when I start seeing him look behind them, I know that I'm going to have to catch them because something's about to happen, and especially with this guy who's about to stand up on his pedals. Ready? Watch this, right? He's still down in his seat. He's up off the seat, up on the pedals, and now he's going. And so now I'm just patiently waiting for this guy to come into my frame before I can make this move. And here it comes. And this is one of my favorite moments from the whole thing because of this little look that this guy gives. Ready? So just hold your line. Here he comes. Perfectly in. Look at this little look. He gives these two a look as he goes by. I'm so cool. And then dropping that down to 50% speed fits really, really well with the song. This is one of my favorite little moments from the whole thing. This is 4 years of me doing this all coming into fruition of like, hold my line, trust these riders. We're here. We're in this together. There's a plenty big gap. I'm in nobody's way. These guys ride bar to bar. Like they're fucking giving each other shoulders and body language, and it's yeah, and I've been watching them do this for years. And so there's some trust here, but there's also this is also like, you know, this is going to be a 6 shot. And like, look, you know, he comes over plenty. He's got tons of room to make this move. And so he just sweeps over, bunch of momentum, blitzes past these guys. This is not like the end of the race. This is towards the end of the race. It's going to tell us how much time is left up here. That it might be 21 minutes. Hard to see. 21 minutes, 41 seconds maybe. So this is coming towards the end of the race. And then rocket back and show the rest of the peloton. When the director takes my camera and my shot is going to the live stream, I'm trying to just hold it for as long as possible. Like, I'm trying not to have to move and make too many corrections. And that's like a really good example of where I've done this enough. I've talked to these guys so much. I can stay in this position here, even though it's a little bit safer to be 2 feet higher and up above their helmets. I know that they know I'm there, and I trust them. They trust me. Super, super, super sick look. You know, the corner cam, the director will commonly say to like a corner camera, hey, let him come into your frame or let him go out of your frame, because that's how a good director will like mix one shot into the next, right? You have your subject exits out the side of the frame, and then the next camera that you pull in, like, so, you know, your viewer's eye moves sideways off the side of the frame, and then the next camera that you cut to, or a graphic or whatever, is over here, and then you can pull it back over. This way you're, you know, as a viewer, you're not like having to whip your eyes back and forth like, what do you want me to look at, right? Like, you it's also a way of like guiding someone's eye, right? Like back in photography, my photography days, one of the things I remember learning is like, you know, you've got this whole big frame, like tell a story by like forcing someone's eye to go somewhere, but then also give them somewhere to go. And so like a really popular concept in photography is like leading lines, right? And so like you've got like a set of railroad tracks, let's say, and like the railroad tracks go out into like infinity, and then at the end of the railroad tracks you put your subject. So you have these leading lines that just guide your eye right to the subject, right where you want the viewer to look. You can also do like vignetting, where like you darken up the corners to bring the eye in, right? You can use focus for this. You can throw everything out of focus except for your subject. And so now like nobody's going to look at the out of focus areas. They're going to look at the thing that's crisp, right? And so you're guiding the viewer's eye around the space. And that's, you know, I sometimes get in the director typically doesn't tell me to let somebody go out of my frame, but whenever I have the chance to do it, I certainly will. And like this was a scenario where I was like, oh, I was just so excited because I knew it was coming. I knew he would come right in front of me, and it was just like, please, brother, up here. And sure enough, just pops right into the frame, and then they go. And what was also nice, like I was saying, I knew I was going to have to hammer the throttle to catch up with these guys. hammering the throttle is that move, right? And so I just held my line, let this guy come into the frame, and now I got to chase them. So it's pitch forward and throttle up at the same time. And that's where that elevation jump kind of comes from. And that allows me to jump up over these guys as well. So like a bunch of things happen all at once here. Nah, stop it. And you'll see the elevation go up. There it is, right? Elevation up, pitch down. You see the horizon line come down, go up a little bit, I should say, to try to chase these guys down, showing all three of them. I maybe could have like really buried the nose and chased down those two guys, but I'm glad that I didn't. That's one of the really tough things, is that when these guys start riding away from me, they're going up in my frame, and in order for me to catch up, I have to nose down. And so if they brake like that hard, if they accelerate that hard, I usually can't stick with them. Like it's usually let them disappear, and it shows how fast they are. It's a good look. Sometimes if I have enough elevation, I can push the nose down and hammer the throttle to come and stay with these guys. But if I'm already low, that doesn't really work. And so it's fun. It's very, very fun to kind of figure that out and figure out how to kind of rock that. On the second to last and last lap, I'll usually start with some elevation and then drop elevation all the way to the finish line, because I know that they're going to just absolutely leave me if I don't do that. Like if I'm trying to run with them really low and it's not just one rider, they're just going to be gone, and I'm going to be looking at the goddamn ground trying to keep up with them. And so yeah, it's a really cool. It makes you appreciate pitch and throttle so much more with their speed changing so much, and it really makes you work to kind of figure that out. It's fascinating. I just love it. This is, as I'm sure you can all tell, this is such a fascinating use of FPV. Kevin Smith says, just tuning in, women's wide and tall, landscape and portrait. Pretty much, yep. Tall for reels and stories, wide for actual good viewing on TVs and monitors and stuff. Varden says, you hold your line, as they would say. Indeed. Yeah, it's with cinematic flying, also with broadcast flying like this, mainly like when your footage, two things, when there's a subject involved, but also when your footage is going to get cut in with Steadicam or gimbal or tripod static camera stuff, you do as little as possible. Like my job is to move the sticks as absolute little as possible, but still stick with the riders and give like a really interesting shot. And like FPV is like cheating for that, right? Like if you look far enough ahead, you can make the smallest little motions and do a nice big long arc, and then maybe shoot through a gap or link up with your subject or whatever, right? And so yeah, the best cinematic pilots in the world are the ones best at looking really far ahead, knowing the exact path that they're going to trace with their current stick movements, and just doing as little as possible. Like, it's so funny, you know, you start to fly FPV, and for your first year of flying FPV, you're just, ah! And this is why I don't like stick bang style flying, is because this is, you know, any idiot can kind of do this. It's actually so much harder to just fly like this, where you're almost imperceptibly moving the sticks, because you don't have the opportunity to make any corrections, right? Like if you want to hold your line and have that one gorgeous long path, you have to put the sticks in the right position like 5 seconds before. and then you just hold it, and you have to just hold it. You can make itty bitty little corrections. You can make corrections on the throttle. The throttle is absolutely your friend, because when you move the throttle, it has to move the entire weight of the craft. And so you can actually like jiggle the throttle up and down quite a bit, and the camera will barely pick it up, because those changes in the throttle have to move the full weight of this, right? Roll, pitch, and yaw. All it has to do is rotate the weight that's on the outside, and that's easy. And also, the camera itself, when you roll it, boy, the whole world rotates, right? And so when you're flying like that, when you're holding your line, when you're doing these really long runs, throttle is all you got. And so if you've got like a little bit of angle on in one direction or the other, adding throttle is going to tuck you in. Dropping throttle is going to let you slide out. You're going to lose altitude at the same time, so you have to manage that. But yeah, holding your line is funny. It sounds simple, right? It sounds simple to do less on the sticks. Like from the outside, it would be like, oh yeah, the more you're moving the sticks, the better you are. But it's the complete opposite. The less you move the sticks, the better you are, because you gotta be way, way, way ahead of yourself. Ryan Sadat says, I was just flying my 6 batteries, and my 2G4/Nano 3 started having some horizontal black and white lines across the screen. You think it's Wi-Fi noise, or is that how these things start to fail? That sounds like Wi-Fi noise. Go up to race 8 and see if it goes away. Brandon Zoipin says you could use a co-pilot that has an overview from a camera drone, like a Mini or Mavic. They could give you updates about riders out of frame. So we have a whole drone team at these events. There are 4 of us. And so we are in constant communication with each other. The Mavic pilot, their visual observer, and then Cassandra on the gear that looks at remote ID. We're all constantly talking to each other to try to help each other out. Calling out, like, you know, how many laps are left, who the maybe somebody doesn't have their ears on, and so, you know, director is asking for shots of, you know, so and so, and so yeah, we communicate quite a bit. It's the drone team that Tulsa Tough has assembled, which is basically Midwest Drone Productions, myself and Cassandra, is a finely soiled machine. And yeah, it's we get an awful lot of compliments. It feels a bit much at times, because the corner camera operators are world class. I mean, these are guys and girls that have done major sporting events, NFL events, and they are phenomenal at what they do. But they get practically no love. They're just expected, right? Like, we've seen sports camera operators for our entire lives, and so, like, it's just expected that they're going to absolutely nail focus, nail the shot every single time. And like, if they don't, it's like, what's wrong with you? But like, goddamn, they are so good. Todd from Midwest Drone Productions actually said to me at one point, and I totally resonated with this. I've thought the same thing before. At some point over the weekend, he goes, man, sometimes I feel bad for the corner camera operators, because they just get no love. And I'm just, and like, you know, the director takes our shots a lot, takes the drone shots a lot. And I was like, dude, I know exactly what you're saying. I agree 100%. And so, yeah, it's, but, you know, people haven't seen drones used extensively in sporting, in sports rather. In sports ball. But that's changing rapidly, which is great. Who saw the massive cable cam catch on fire and fall into the field of the soccer game? That'll fucking kill someone. Not to mention those cables that thing was on. I'm sure they're heavy, and yet drones get all the hate. Drones are unsafe, right? This is unsafe at like 198 grams. This is unsafe. Not the 58 80, 100-pound death gimbal on big, thick fucking cables that's dropping 100 feet, like a couple of feet away from a camera operator with a gimbal. But this is unsafe. Come on now. Get it together. General public, insurance companies, sporting organizations. Danzilla the Terrible says, I noticed when I first dove a mountain that holding your line is super important. Fast and smooth, looking like a kilometer ahead, and picking a line is hard AF. Yeah, indeed. Here's the other thing that you just reminded me of. When you maintain a steady line for as long as possible, if in post you need to speed ramp that and fast forward that 200, 300, 500% speed, it looks awesome, right? The one women's edit here, I don't know if it'll, let's see if it'll play it. This will play without stuttering. So here's a perfect example of this. Where's that backwards run? Here you go, ready? So I'm now going to go to like 400% speed, and it works because I'm really steady, right? If I was bouncing, you fucker, hit the button on the stream deck, you donkey. If I was bouncing all over the place, or if I was wiggling the sticks all over the place, this would look terrible. But it doesn't. It works because I'm good at throttle control, and I'm just doing as little as possible. I'm being as nothing on the sticks as I possibly can, and that gives you a lot of options in post. So that's another really good reason to focus on doing as little as possible on the sticks, at least, and in life. Going into 50% speed is actually the opposite. This actually looks kind of cool when you are bouncing all over the place. Unless you're trying to show a giant group of cyclists and all of the little subtleties going on in here. All the little looks, all the little body language, the different teams, you know, the riders, the cyclists are going to watch this and look for themselves, stuff like that, right? And so, yeah. A lot of different ways to skin that cat. Just the worst saying ever. Rensadat says, I meant 6 batteries, not 6 packs. One of those things where you joke about something too much and you start saying it seriously. Packs. Hold on, what were we talking about? I don't remember what we were talking about with that. B. Kirk says, I changed the race 3 and my video was terrible. Race 8 is so much cleaner. I thought all my drones were messed up, but it's just Wi-Fi interference. Yeah, certain Wi-Fi routers are very, very loud. Also, certain Wi-Fi routers will have really wide bands that they broadcast on. And so, like, some people will get away with, like, race 4 or race 5. Other people have to go all the way up to race 8. Easiest thing to do is just to run race 8. It's as far away as you can possibly get from Wi-Fi. Which makes a difference outside as well. Zout says it's hard to hold a line and swat mosquitoes at the same time. How do you handle ravens? Oh, dude, the ravens were fucking coming for me on Saturday. I don't know, Zout. I don't know if you watched the recap stream on Monday, but Saturday's race was in the River Arts District, and it's funny. I remember this from last year as well. There's a pack of birds in the Tulsa River Arts District, the Tulsa Arts District, that don't like drones, and they fucking come after me. And so, like, I put the Caillou Mini up in the air just to test the sight, and they're coming after me, and they're whizzing by me. I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ, here we go. And then so for the rest of the day flying this, I stayed as low as I possibly could. And so I would chase, and I would get a bunch of elevation up, and then I would drop back down. And if the rest of the riders were on the right side of the track, I would stay on the left as low as I possibly could. Not below helmet height, never below helmet height on head-ons like that. But just down a couple of feet up above helmet height. And then I had like a little shortcut across this field, And so I would stay really low, just like skim the fence on the shortcut, drop back down on the grass, low, 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 jump back up over the fence, back down on the road surface, to just so that they wouldn't come get me. And even the high drone operator, even they had a couple little bird situations. And yeah, it was I think it was starlings and ravens. Yeah, it's a thing. I've also heard that at these big concerts that they fly at, they will bring people in to chase the birds away the day before, and they set up like bird abatement, I think they're called, devices. I guess that blast like high frequency or something. They do something to make sure birds aren't there at these massive festival events that there's going to be FPV. It's a thing. It's a real thing. If you're going to be flying in an area for hours, the birds are going to get pissed. And they, we talk about like, such and such venue doesn't own the airspace. The FAA owns the airspace. Bullshit. The birds own the airspace, yo. The FAA thinks they own the airspace. They don't own shit. Really funny. Cole says, as someone with an asshole cat, you are allowed to use that expression. Indeed. It is 11:50. Let's fly a couple of batteries and then we'll all get some goddamn sleep. I'm going to be flying the indestructible Tiny Whoop if I can find it. Where the hell is it? I thought I left it out here. No. Let me, I'm going to fly this guy that I let Spider Sugar borrow for a few months. I got to throw some props on it, though. He had 1219. He likes 1219Ss. I only like them when they have a 1.5 millimeter motor shaft. If I'm going to run a 1 millimeter motor shaft motor, these are Tiny Whoop 0702 36,000 kV motors. If I'm going to run a 1 millimeter motor shaft, it's going to be on the HQ Ultralight props. They are my favorites. So let's grab a couple of them out. Of the HQ Ultralights, the ones that I prefer are the 1.2 by 0.9 by 3s. The new 1.2 by 1 by 3s are so similar that like you kind of might as well just buy those. Don't buy these 0.9s because I like them. The one pitch, you won't be able to tell the difference. This is like the all green rig. And so let's go with 2 green props and 2. Let's go clear. We'll go 2 clear props. High right. It's another high right. I need a high left. There's a high left. Cool. So before you put propellers onto any motor that does not use, well, I'm going to say any motor that is either T-mount or just uses the motor shaft to hold the propeller on. So basically anything other than M5. Okay? You need to drill those props out. Even a T-mount prop. Like these guys, for example. It was actually the 35, but I gashed the shit out of my finger on the AOS Cine 35 because it wasn't the bi-blades, it was the HQ tri-blades fit so goddamn tight on the 1.5 millimeter motor shaft that even after pulling the T-mount screws, I had to pull hard as hell to get those things off. So anything other than M5 mount, you're going to drill that out. I have drill bits on my Etsy store, linked over on CiottiFPV.com, that are 0.99 and 1.49 millimeters. If you use these, you will not rip your hands to shreds, and you will also not ruin motors. When you push a propeller onto a motor really hard, you are pushing down on that motor shaft. The motor bell has nowhere to go. And so you are essentially breaking that laser welded bond between the motor bell and the motor shaft. And if you push hard enough, you will absolutely ruin that motor. And so get yourself some drill bits. You might as well get this little thing while you're at it because it's super nice to have. This is called I forget the name of it. Oh my God, I've sold like 100 of them. It's called a pin vise. This is a double-ended pin vise. The ones that I sell look a little bit different than this, but it accomplishes the same thing. Get this, put it on your desk, maybe buy a second one, put it in your gear. You can loosen these up and then push these drill bits inside of the thing so that it travels without the sharp drill bits on it. And then anytime you're about to put a propeller on that's not M5, you just put it on the goddamn drill bit real quick, spin it down. And so the first thing you're going to do is, while you spin it, get the prop all the way bottomed out. And then what I like to do is then just wiggle it. If you spin it while you're taking the prop off, it'll take very little material off. If you either stop spinning it and just pull the prop off, or just wiggle it a little bit, it's going to take a little bit of a little bit more material off. You've now run it down there one time. Now you try it. And so we're going to put this guy on the front, and we are props in. And so I'm going to put it on the motor shaft, and I'm just going to use these 2 fingers. I'm not going to use my stronger middle finger, just 2 little fingers, and I'm just going to push, and I'm putting a little bit of force, and it bottomed out. And that was perfect. I did not have to fucking grunt. I did not have to use 2 fingers. I didn't have to use my middle finger. I just pushed it on. That is plenty of friction for these itty-bitty motors. Now, I did not wreck this motor. I'm going to be able to pull the propeller off, not an issue. I'm not going to have to go dicking around with stuff. And now we just do that again. And you do that every single time. And so now, okay, so I'm going to pretend like I did this once, but I'm actually not going to do it, okay? So this is maybe going to be too tight now. And so here's the other part of this that you need to remember, is that if you have a propeller that you've done once, or you're being lazy and you don't do it at all, and you put it on here, and you're just using 1 finger, and it's just not going down. See the big gap? It's not, because you have to push these all the way down. Otherwise, you're going to bend these motor shafts really easy. You got to get these props all the way bottomed out. I'm now pushing on this hard enough where I can't do it with my index finger. And so now I'm going to start stacking, or I'm going to move over to this finger. Stop. That's where you start to damage the motor. That's where the prop becomes damn near impossible to pull off. It's all bad things. At this point, you probably have the damn thing stuck because you were pushing on it pretty hard. And so now you're going to hopefully use your non-destructive prop puller. This is the grappler from Weebleed. It is my favorite for pulling tri-bladed propellers. It's a little bit finicky at first, but eventually you figure it out. Come on. And so this is going to pull up on the propeller and push down on the motor shaft. This is not pushing down on the bell. This has no interaction with the bell whatsoever, which is why this is such a safe method of pulling the props off, right? It's all right there. It doesn't impart any force on the motor shaft or the bell. And so now I know that I need to wallow this guy out a little bit. So since I didn't actually do it, I will spin it all the way down to the base of the 0.99 millimeter drill bit, and then gently pull it off. And when it pops out like that, you'll get like a little whiff of like white powder. That's the plastic that you're removing. And now we'll try it again. Eventually, you're going to get a hang of it. You're going to get the hang of this, and you're going to know on a specific motor with a specific propeller how many times you have to run it down the 0.99 mil drill bit. Even though this is the same propeller but just a different color, I'm going to have to hit it one more time. And so now I know that the green props, for whatever reason, seem to be a little bit tighter. And so the next green prop that I do, I'll just put it down there twice. See what I mean? And like eventually, especially if you run the same propellers over and over again, you'll really learn them. The motors have slightly different thickness motor shafts. And so a Happy model motor is going to have a slightly thicker motor shaft than some of the other ones. And so now I want to remove a little bit more material. So I'm not going to spin it. I'm just going to push all the way down and then just pull all the way straight out. And now that removed another chunk of material, and pin vise rolls across the desk. I'm sure making an insane noise for folks wearing headphones, and now we're good to go. Cool. Do that over and over and over again. It will save your motors. It'll save you time. It'll save you from gashing yourself up. 1.49 millimeters, 0.99 millimeters, one tool to rule them all. Put it on the side of your desk. Use it every single time. So another green. For the record, sometimes a clockwise motor versus a counterclockwise motor can have a slightly different thickness motor shaft. I have seen that before. It seems completely insane. But more often than that, the different colored propellers will have slightly different inner diameters. Doesn't make any sense, but that's just what I've seen happen. That one went on there perfect. And now back to the clear one, which only took one. Some props you don't have to do this with, but it's very rare and it depends on the motor. I would rather... Also, when you're putting the propeller on, the amount that it fights you is going to tell you what the inner diameter of that propeller actually is. There's like an amount of force that it takes to remove these propellers from these 0.99 and 1.49 millimeter drill bits. And that's another thing that you learn. Like, I know that I had to pull this so hard just now that I got to run it back down one more time. And now this second time, that came off about right. So this should be... I might actually have to do it one more time, but let's just see. Nah, that's a little tight on there, but it's all the way down. It wasn't quite all the way down. That one's going to be hard to remove. I should have hit that one again, but I didn't. We'll live. So there you go. That's how you stop ruining Tiny Whoop, or just any. Like, keep in mind, even if like a 1404, it's a 2 millimeter motor shaft down there, so it's 2 millimeter diameter. Well, whatever. It's a 2 millimeter motor shaft laser weld to the bell. That 1404 isn't going to do any better than like a 1202.5, which also has a 2 millimeter shaft, right? So just because it's like a 1404, even like a 1504, you can still slip that motor shaft on the bell really, really easy by cranking props on, yanking props off really hard. What do I need? I need the module. That's not the right module. It's on my other transmitter here. Hold on. All right. Yep. I need this. And I need these goggles. There we go. All right. Let's fly a couple batteries, my friends. For some reason, the lamp is off over there, so it's really dark. I also have the basement sort of torn apart. Let me turn this lamp on. Hold on. Yay! We've got light. Look at this shirt, yo. My newest Blip Shift shirt. I have not bought a Blip Shift shirt in a long time, but I had to get this one. I just absolutely had to get this one. And I got it in long sleeve. I don't have enough long sleeve t-shirts, and I love them. I also got the print of it. These are all Blip Shift prints. These are all silkscreen prints. They're gorgeous. Yeah, I was a massive Nirvana fan growing up, and I'm now a massive Nürburgring fan. So, you know, just too perfect. Too effing perfect. Here we go. We bleed 340 mAh BT 2.0 battery on a 2G4 old school Mobula 6 upside down ball sack canopy, Runcam Nano 3 with right now all the up tilt in the world. Let's turn that down. ORT Micro V antenna, Tiny Whoop / Happy Model 0702, 36,000 kV motors, the really cool little rear LED thing. But this does not have the right ELRS binding phrase in it, because Spider Sugar's been flying this around. So we need to get this into Beta flight real quick. Well, maybe beta flight. Maybe ELRS web flasher. ELRS web flasher. Okay. I'll do this first. This will definitely work. Oh, no. I just... Oh, God. I don't want to update it. Oh, no. Just let me... No. Well, I'll try to do it in beta flight. I don't want to change the firmware version. That's annoying. I guess I could. It doesn't really matter. But let's see if I can do it in here. Oops, wrong one. Binding phrase. Okay. Oh, I also need to change it back to TAER. All right, cool. Save and reboot. Let's see if that worked. Come on, give me the beep. Give me the beep to tell me that that just works, please. Oh, yeah. Look at us. Okay, cool. Why didn't the transmitter beep? Usually it gives me a little beep. Ah, there it is. Okay. All set. Here we go. I haven't flown this thing in months. I don't think I think I sent this to Spider a little bit after Castle Crash last year. So it's been a while. All right. VRX has been unplugged and replugged, and there it is. Give me some video. Oh, I bet you it's all. It looks like it's also not on. Well, it won't arm. Oh. His modes are different. Yeah. Of course. His modes are different, and I think he's flying on a different channel too, because it's not coming up on race 8. So let's come back in here. We're going to go to VTX. Yep, he's on race band 1. So we're going to go up to 8. 25 on until first arm. Good. Save that. And then we got to come in here for modes. Whoa. What? No. What are you doing? Oh my God, Betaflight's freaking out. Can you not? Wait, hold on. Let me just make sure real quick. Throttle. Why is throttle going up and down on aux 4? What's that about? I don't think that's something that I do. I don't think I use aux 4 though. Throttle, yaw, roll, pitch. Okay, so that's all good. I'm assuming that the modes are different though. So arm. Yep, so that arms. Horizon, we're going to add a range for my oh shit switch in case I lose video. And then we've got beeper, which I want all the way down. That's great. In the middle, we want flip over after crash. So I need to switch that to aux 3. Okay, cool. There we go with that. It does not have black box. Should be everything, right? No. Air mode. Air mode. Where's air mode at? Oh, you know what? Air mode is probably permanently enabled. Let's turn that off. Okay. Cool. Save and reboot. All right. So now we're going to connect. Of course, it's going to shit on itself. Receiver modes. Here we go. So air mode. Where are you at? There we go. Add range. Aux 6. So I want air mode on when the switch position is there. And then when I pull the momentary switch, that turns air mode off. Great. Good to go. Now it'll fly. Oh, nope. Gotta save it. That would help. Flip over after crash. Okay, yeah, we're good. I used to turn launch mode on as well, but I don't know. The novelty of launch control has worn off. All right. There we go. Ooh, these props are hitting the ducts bad. So we're going to go. So when you have a quad, where when you switch props or put a new frame on, well, and it sounds like that. Go into turtle mode, arm it, and fire up each motor. And this is going to self-clearance the props, because this sends thrust upwards, which bends the prop blades down. And now, it's still making noise. The other thing you can do is go turtle mode really slow, one motor at a time. That motor's fine. That motor's not. And so that's motor number 2. It's hitting somewhere. You just grab the motor like this and just bend it out. See where it's hitting, and then just bend it in that direction. In this case, it's hitting on the inside. Every once in a while, you just have to there we go. Reform these ducts a little bit. Motor 4 is fine. Motor 3 is hitting just a little bit. Good to go now. So now we should be all right. Indeed. Let's do it. Whoa! What in the Sam Hill? Holy shit. How can you read any of that? Oh my god, I can't make hide nor hair out of any of this. Hold on. Okay, this will be interesting. Oh boy. This feels weird after 100+ AOS Cine batteries. Wowee, the grip is absurd. The grip from the tall ducts is something special. Holy shit, dude. Oh, I got through the gate, but then all hell broke loose. I also don't have any I don't have any OSD elements. I'm flying completely blind. I'm assuming that there's warnings. I'm assuming that I'm going to get a low battery warning. Woo, Jesus! Easy, fella. Can I change the, hold on. Oh, there are some elements. When I go into, horizon mode, I've got my battery voltage, 3.81. Okay. But I can't fly in horizon. Ah, I don't know. The chair was right there in front of me. I guess I thought it would move. It's kind of fun to fly around here without all the flotsam and jetsam that are all these gates. But it's so funny. I'm used to going and throwing myself through where the gates are. I'm like doing it just out of habit. Uh-oh. Something ain't happy. I don't know if the warnings are gonna come on, so I'm gonna leave it there for this battery and make sure I don't kill it. 3 minutes and 25 seconds. Yeah, that battery was done. I at least need to have some sort of an OSD setup. If it's not in my font, I at least need the elements to be there. Luckily, that's very easy for me to do because I keep a little chunk of text here with the CLI commands for my exact OSD. So I can just come in here, paste it, save it, and that'll be pretty close to my exact OSD setup. But I am going to make sure that adjustments has this properly set. Yeah, that's looking good. And then let's come in here and just double check. Yeah, that's looking good. Okay. Craft name, link quality. Okay. That's all looking the way that it should be. I'm going to change this back to that. Ooh, the PID loop is only on 2K. Let's get it up to 4. That's interesting. Save and reboot. Let's just check the CPU load on 4K. Make sure it's not too much. And 54%. That's fine. 180 maximum ARM. Okay, that's good to go. All right, let's see if I can read this. See if I can read this font. Cole says, "Did you change the OSD font?" I did not. I'm gonna leave it with whatever Spider Sugar's. I think it's a custom font that he did, which is really, really neat. Not the most readable thing in the world, but definitely fun. Oh, there it is. I can totally read it. Wait, let me make sure you guys have video. Hold on. You guys have video? You do. Hey, this just means I'll use the newbie drone cube more. Hey. Hey, I didn't hit the chair this time. Look at me. Oh, just letting it drop blind. Look at that fluff blowing in the wind. What up, dog? Teddy, say hello. Oh, God. Let's see if I can get... this might be walk of shame time. Nope, we're out. Yeah, buddy. Oh, God. Oh, my God. I went through there with a whole head of steam. Hey. Oh, I don't know what I was thinking there. I needed to keep turning to the right to avoid that, but I just smashed right into it. Hey, buddy. Where you at, Teddy boy? There he is. Look, he's hiding. He knows who's boss. Tiny Whoop is boss. Look at that face. Oh, he took a swipe at it. You saw it. You guys saw it. I'm calling the police on his little ass. God, this feels so good in here. It's just the big tall ducts on the Cockroach V3 are just the greatest thing in the world. They give it such like grip and control. Woo! Alright, well, I'll never be able to do this, but I should at least start trying the dive to tunnel run. Oh my God. Okay. Well, okay, don't die. Please. No, no, no. I died. Easy, fella. Easy. Oh, rejected by the top of the TV. Just like my dating. Hey. Hey. Oh my God. Oh my God, just making the newbie drone cube my absolute bitch. Oh my God, why? How? Oh, it had to die at some point. 4 in a row, though. That is a new record. Usually that newbie drone... Ah, don't eat me, Teddy! Usually that newbie drone cube is the bane of my existence. Oh, see? See? I can't even just randomly throw myself through it. Try again. Got it that time. Ooh, that light is blinding as all hell. I think my low voltage warnings are have been changed on here because it's running way beyond 3 minutes and not giving me any low battery warnings. Well, there you go, friends. It's getting late, and I want to get back to editing. If I'm really honest, I am in the zone with editing, and that is rare. And so I am striking while the iron is hot. And just bombing through as many of these edits as I possibly can before I inevitably burn out on it. So, fly the other 6 batteries for me. Fly at least 4, but fly 6, yo. You can do it. Thanks for hanging, friends. Ryan says out with the last comment on live stream, says instead of trying to get HQ GemFan to give us more 1.5mm props, maybe Weebly should just invest in making a tool to center the props we do here and be able to reliably ream them out to 1.5. It'll never work. On the GemFan props, there's not enough plastic in there to do it, and on the HQ props, the hub is already too fragile, and it'll just immediately explode. The hubs need to be increased by that same 1.5. So yeah, just drilling props out won't work. Been there, tried that. Thanks for hanging, friends. My name's Aaron Ciotti. Go over to CiottiFPV.com and click some buttons. There's some fun stuff going on there. Join my Discord, Patreon rather. That's the best way to support me and the coolest group of people. We hang out on Discord all the time. There are a whole bunch of really good edits for you patrons waiting for you on the Patreon Hangout, and there's even a poll. You get to vote on which format of one of these edits you like the best, and that's what I'll go with. So it's a team effort. Thanks, friends. I will see you Friday at 7 o'clock Eastern Time. I'm going to play you some not goggle flight footage. I'm going to play you some stabilized onboard either 4K or 1080 flight footage for the outro. Love you, bye. That's not what I want to grab. I want to grab this one. There we go. See you guys Friday. Come on. Come on. There it is.
Yeah. Out in the yard where the grass grows wild, CiottiFPV's goggles locked, grinning like a child. Teddy spaghetti's, fur flies, and jet wash dreams. Yeah. Chasing small whoops like a dog possessed fiend. Eyes on a neon blur, hard in the chase. Bit fuzz and prop spin, all tangled in place. Yeah. Four-legged rebel with a rotor stir tail in the circus of the sky. They never fail. CiottiFPV, Teddy spaghetti, dynamic duo kings, barking at the breeze, throttling at top speed, zooming through hoops, flipping in style. That schnauzer's got throttle and a toothy smile. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sighties on sticks, Teddy's on paws, side by side legends breaking all the laws. Through the kitchen over couch scale terrain, backyard mayhem in their flight domain. No ground too sacred, no loop too tight. Fuzz fuel fury ignites the night. When pilot and pup lock eyes on the prize, every whoop they conquer is a fresh cut surprise. Yeah. Yo, Ciotti behind the sticks, Teddy's leading the pack. Prop guard missiles unleashed, never looking back. No leash, no map, just freestyle Mike. They on the dog drone streets every day and night. Said whoops, hitting low, gotta nail the dive. Teddy push throttle up, feel the beast come alive. I see the neon arc, got the sticks locked in. Teddy, yeah. Let's rip this loop.